Call this meeting to order. I'd like to have a motion to adopt the adoption of the agenda for the day.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion in light of recent developments. I recommend we postpone items 3 through 10 and instead address SPLOST and the upcoming mediation.
I have a motion.
Oh, yeah.
I'll second that, but I'd still like to address item number 10. With the, that we can also go into executive session, discuss people litigation, personnel.
All right, then I'll amend my motion to say we strike items 3 through 9 on the agenda.
Been moved.
I'll second that motion.
Moved and second. We'll eliminate items 3 to 9 and get down to item 10. So, moved and second, or anybody, all in favor?
Hold on, go ahead.
We'll give a second on this.
Yeah, do this one and
Okay.
Just, there was another item on the agenda, Ellen, is that correct? It's not here?
And yes, she is not here, Ms. Helen, she wanted to talk about the bicentennial.
Okay, there was another, that was something that Helen Claver had discussed with me and with Ella, and so it wasn't put on the agenda, so we need to decide whether or not that should be tabled, or if we should go forward with that one too. She's not here, but we have the written documents associated with that, so it's presented.
Well, we have to add that to the agenda before we can even decide to talk about it.
Okay. All right, so it's not on the agenda, so we can make a motion, second it.
Do you have a copy of the printed information? I don't have.
I don't have a copy of it, I got the email.
Okay.
But I don't believe it's necessary for today.
Okay,
Okay,
we can
so,
just,
all
we'll
right.
meet next week, we can just do it next week if she happens to come in and let her address it.
Okay, okay. So I guess the motion and the second stands?
Yes.
Okay.
And moved and second that we eliminate items 3 through 9. Any discussion on it? If not, have a vote on it, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So,
I'd like to make a second motion if I could.
yes.
I request you announce a special call meeting for the purposes of discussing an executive session, personnel, and upcoming litigation.
I'll second that.
We've been moved and seconded. We have meeting on this and to go into executive session on personnel and SPLOST. So I have litigation, correct. Excuse me. Have a motion on that?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, please.
Yes?
I'd like to add discussion of SPLOST and SDS to the agenda so we can update the general public that's here as to where we are in negotiations.
That isn't on the agenda.
fine. I know I'm making a motion to add it to the agenda. I just don't have a second right now.
I'll give you a second.
Then move second to bring the public up to date on Flush and SDS. All those that are in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? For item 10. Item 10 is a misunderstanding of what was said. It came out to the public that we were going to do things, which is not right. This was a work session, just like this is a work session. No voting, no, just comments. And the comments that were heard were put out of place. I'm going to ask Mr. Howard to enlighten this group with his comments, please.
Well, the subject of item 10 says City of Sky Valley Facility Utilization dash Visitor Center. And that came about because I went around with the mayor and we looked at the facilities, and we've got the police department in a small space that has a wall that's full of mold and leaks and what have you. We've got some other things going on. Of course, we've got the facility at 3608 Highway 246, which has over the past few years been a center of controversy. And I think that the use of that facility, the total use of it, and the vision that was had for that facility when we bought it should be reviewed and addressed, so that hopefully we can come to some unification of our position, city position, and where we want to go with that facility. So I've deviated a little bit from maybe what initially started with, and I want to take us back to the year 2014. And during that year, your mayor was Hugh Goodgame, and your city council consisted of Liz Carr, Martin Green, Bob Larson, Dave Watley, and myself. And the mayor came to each of us early in that year and said that we had the opportunity to purchase property located on Highway 246. It was the only piece of commercial property available, and it would give us a great site for a future city complex. And it was on that vision that the mayor had at that time that I voted in favor of purchasing that piece of property. And to the best of my knowledge, and it's shown and reflected in minutes of the city, by the unanimous support of all councilors, that they believed that that was what should happen at that facility. So The original plan and the direction given by council to the mayor was to negotiate and purchase that piece of property from Ed West and others, I mean, whoever was involved in the ownership of that property at the time, for $200,000 cash, and to secure the property. However, during those negotiations, they got clouded somewhat. In the negotiations, and the resulting purchase had some caveats that allowed the owner and current occupant to lease space for actually a number of years, which prevented the vision from taking place and prevented from moving and making plans to make that a city center complex, which, again, I want to reiterate, I think was a great idea. We're a little city, say, back in the valley and hidden from much exposure to the outside world. And putting a city complex there in the face of the city on a highway, the only highway that really leads to Highlands, Cashiers, and beyond, a great tourist area with hundreds of people passing by that we could market to, I use that term, I think, possibly, and develop and show our presence was a very good idea. But it has been stalled by us not being able to use that facility essentially other than the center office section because of the leases. And then the decision was made to use that space for what we could use it for, a visitor center. Well, a visitor center, I'm not against the visitor center, never have been. That's a function of the city that should be continued and enhanced and turned into some way we can use information and interface with visitors into a marketing plan that should be, I feel, more fully developed in association with a two-way, three-way marketing committee. So, we've been limited in the ability to use that property for what the intent of the mayor and the vision of the mayor at that time and council had. And this is, since of this delay and confusion and questions being raised, and people for and against the purchase and the waste of the money and not you. The point is that we need some long-range future planning by this council, and that has not really ever started because of there was never a plan laid out as how and when we can use that facility for a city complex. What will be contained in that? How? There's no plan. And because of no planning, of course, people start forming their own judgments and opinions and all. And what I want to do is take us back to the day and that vision that Mayor Goodgame and that council had, and I'm asking this council to identify with accepting that vision, promoting that vision, and then start planning toward how we can phase into putting this face of the city of Sky Valley, the administrative face, the offices on that beautiful piece of property, which has enough frontage to not only do that, but as we can move into the full facility down the road, we'll have time to phase in and plan detail what layouts are, what technical aspects needed to be added to that facility for communication, for electricity, whatever, and do it in the proper way, that, and one that everybody can identify with as we build this plan, and how it can be reported monthly to our citizens. And then we've got something we can all hang our coat on. As it is now, we're just flailing around. And there's, in my opinion, proper prior planning prevents poor performance. Use that as my motto. There's a word or two I left out. In my work in planning and building organizations, when I was in the defense industry. So I think the lack of our planning and foresight has really caused a lot of discord and unfortunately, and we need something to anchor us and move us forward, and I see no better thing than to use a piece of property that's paid for, and has great exposure, to build on that, how we can use that to the best interests of the citizens of Sky Valley. I love Sky Valley. I love the people of Sky Valley. I know every one of you feel the same way. We ought to have something we can be on the same page about that will focus us and move us forward in one direction, and we can all contribute to the plan. So I think that's the main reason we're not together. Not improper planning, just really no planning, long-range planning. And this is not, and the fortunate thing about it, that's not something you can do overnight. A long-range plan is something that we're talking about. Takes analysis. We need to look at that building and see what it's capable of supporting. Put all kinds of ideas and to draw plans. There's no, as far as I know, there's no even floor plan on that building. And that can be done, and we can start there and see how to put the face of the city there. And that will open up other facilities that are in great need, I think, to facilitate the police department, number one, who's in a cramped location. They can't hold court. They can't, there's no privacy in there for the chief if he wants to speak to his officers in a private way or anything else. And to have the ability to expand and to think forward and put things in proper place and perspective is something we haven't been afforded and something I think we need. I've read a lot of emails out there, and there's been a lot of good suggestions, a lot of good questions of how we staff and how we do things. And I'm all for gathering input and discussing them intelligently, calmly. Sometimes I get excited. That's my nature, I'll admit. I get sometimes a little too involved. But that's just my nature. Because I want to move things forward. I want to do what's I think is necessary at the time. So, planning, budgeting, we have time to put the stuff into budget so it's in the budget as we evaluate, look what it would cost to do this, and then we, at the point that I'm want to make, and not mince around about it, and is at the end of the lease period and where we're constricted right now, that we move into that facility full-time, only city people. No renting, no, no conflicts of interest, no favoritism to anybody. Use that facility for what was intended by the vision of our former mayor and by the council at that time. And that we continue collecting the information and having visitors on post in the meantime, and that we phase in other aspects in that building as we can. And we're not, as far as I know, I can't speak for all the council, I'm one member, but from what I've heard, when we are able to speak together, because we can't meet except in workshops, in a body, in a full body. We can meet a couple of us together at a time. But that there's no one that wants to close what that building has become commonly known as a visitor center, which, because that's the only thing we can put in there because of the situations and the negotiation. But
Thank you.
that's my idea, and I hope I can convince the council to continue discussions on this.
Thank you very much. We, on the crowd, these people here, the good people of Sky Valley, I know have questions. They wish. Remember that this is a work session. We just discuss things, we do not vote on them. We say different things, but that's it. And due to the large crowd here, I'm going to have to limit any questions to about 3 minutes per person. If you wish to say something in relation to the visitor center, please state your name first, because we have a video and they hear people talking, but they don't know who's talking. And so if you wish to make then just raise your hand and I'll acknowledge you and just state your name and your comments. So I'm going to open it up.
Excuse me, Bob, before you open that up, are we going to discuss amongst ourselves what we've been doing? I don't agree with what Neil said. I'm not sure some of what Neil said can even be done legally because of what's already in place. You understand? So if Neil's proposing taking over that entire building, I'm not so sure we can legally do that. So I don't want to have a discussion on something that's not even, it's basically, that's Neil's thoughts, that's his opinions. But Doug, you've been looking at the purchase contract, and there was an initial lease signed in the purchase contract that was intended for Wes to be in the other building, the liquor store. And that's where he was supposed to be, and that would have given the city enough room to have some administrative offices in there. However, that building evidently wasn't inspected according to Linda, is that right? So the building was never inspected but purchased, and it ended up not being suitable. There's a clause in the purchase contract that called for the buyer to put, I believe, not more than $17,500 into that building to fix it up as an office. Didn't work, they had to tear it down. They amended that lease agreement, the purchase contract, a little over a year later to include some space in the other building. And Doug, and it's till, basically till they die or disabled, or what did you find out of that?
No, the initial lease was done in September of 2014, at the same time as the purchase of the property. And the lease gave the tenants a 3-year, beginning on September 25th, 2014, with a 3-year renewal option. So the initial 3-year period ran in September 2017, and the tenants gave timely notice to the city that they wanted to exercise their 3-year renewal option. So they've got until September 2020 on the property. The clause about if the tenant dies or becomes disabled only comes into play, I think it's paragraph 14. That would allow the tenant to terminate the lease upon either death or total physical disability if they give 60 days notice at the time. So the lease itself is not dependent on their death or disability. It would just allow the tenant to get out early if those two things happen.
Okay.
Also in paragraph 14 says that the lease would be subordinate to the city's right to sell the property free of the leasehold interest. If y'all wanted to have a bona fide sale or anything like that, that would terminate the lease as well. But those two things are the only thing that could end that lease earlier than September 2020.
Okay, so when September 2020 comes around, and they act on their ability to renew for 3 more years? or-
No.
I think,
Listen, I'm just trying to have Doug clarify for everybody. It's okay.
That's not.
Let him answer.
no, the initial lease that was done in September 2014 was for 3 years with 1 3-year renewal, which they've exercised.
Okay.
So in September 2020, the lease ends, and if the parties want to renegotiate another lease, they can, or if they want to go their separate ways, they can.
Thank you.
And I'm proposing we go our separate ways, and in the meantime, the period of time we use to properly plan the use of a center for the city, city center and administrative offices, billboards that we can put up there to advertise for the city, the next right turn, which is a thing we had talked about at our 2-way, 3-way, and have given approval. That's why we took down the billboard in Lakemont with to put a billboard up on that property. The only reason that hasn't moved forward is all the discussion and about are we moving forward with that? What are we going to do? And that's why I'm talking about putting together a plan, a long-range plan that we can endorse, the council, the city can endorse, and make plans toward that December 2020 for taking over that facility. At the time, we'll have planned, budgeted, and done everything necessary to bring that into fruition. As was originally.
Yeah, I agree with Neil on the planning, that's essentially needs to be done. My question is to Doug, is to kind of give everybody that, a timeline. It's not anything immediate there, because the current lease we have with West does go to 2020. We're not taking questions just yet, we'll thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any discussion?
Well, one of the things that hasn't come up yet in private conversations that we've had is the other section of the building. And you're proposing, and I agree with you, it's a long-term project that we're looking at. And there seems to be a lot of discussion about whether it's long-term or short-term happening in November or next year. There is the other section that we haven't discussed, and I haven't heard you talk about, is the other lease. We have Ed West on one side, and we have Patty Calderon on the other side, and a small section in the middle that is currently being used for the visitor center. So I think that the council should know what your thoughts are as far as Patty Calderon, whether that goes along with the Ed West in 2020, or is there some other thing that is associated with that? Because factually, there is no lease. There's no lease as far as Katie Feldman is concerned.
Well, that's what I was gonna bring up. You mentioned the lease, but there is no lease. It's on a month-to-month basis. And I think between now and December 2020, there can be arrangements and talk plan, to give Patty adequate time to find another place, and then there's no indecision about it, about yes or no. Our objective and our goal, if you follow my thinking and plan, is beginning soon after December 2020, the city will occupy that whole space,
And Neil,
but not kicking anybody out without notice.
last workshop, we talked about going to that facility and meeting there, what we could do, just what you're saying, look at the possibilities. I'm met with Patty the other day, is she here? But she had some great ideas about opening up her space into the space we have and kind of making it a whole free-flowing center, and talked with Linda Sloop about some ideas. She has some real good ideas about things to change, how to make it better. So there is some discussion that needs to be done, so I'd like to ask Linda to go ahead and get that on the calendar. We can go over there and see what the possibilities are.
Yeah, if we identify with going forward in this manner, which first we have to discuss and decide, and I think we're wrong, and if we're together on this idea, then the public's ideas, our ideas, I hope we can all come together in how to best use that facility. We can then have conference room, we can have a meeting room, we'll have much more private space where we can have our business done and where we can meet with our residents and be right there all together with one focus.
With keeping in mind what you said earlier about the, down the road in the future, moving City Hall to that building that we own, and then being able to move the police department out of whatever that's called to a better facility. And that's what we're looking at here, is we're trying to look at this whole picture and figure out what's going to benefit everybody. I believe from conversations that I've had with individuals that public safety and garbage pickup and road debris cleaning and things of that nature are what are important to you. And if that's not important to you, then tell the council this. But I think that's what I'm picking up from people that I've talked to, or information that we've picked up as far as emails that have come in. And if it's important to you, then we need to figure out how important it is and what you want to do as far as that's concerned. We're offering suggestions. There has been no decision that's been made, and yet the emails that are coming in almost seem to be indicative that Ed West is getting thrown out next week, Patty Calderon is going to be closed down in 2 hours, and that we're going to go in there, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. Nothing has been decided. We're brainstorming. We're trying to figure out, what do you, the taxpayers, want? What's important to you when you come up here for the season? What's important to you when you're up here full-time? I was in the police station. I thought it'd be a great idea if we had open house at the police station and we had to have a minimum of 100 people there. I'd be surprised that many people have been into the police station, and if you were in there and you walk out thinking they got a nice operation, then I'd like to talk to you. They don't. There is nothing that's going to happen probably this year at all as far as that police station is concerned. There is nothing that's going to happen this year because it's already been stated by the attorney that the contract that was initiated through the city attorney at the time with Ed West, we can't do anything about. So we're talking in the future, as Neil said. But what is it you want? Do you want to keep things at City Hall where it is? Do you want to keep all of, whatever money we spend and whatever money we take in from the building that we own? Is that what you want? We're trying to find out. There hasn't been a decision made. And we're looking for input. You know, Neil did a good job explaining what his viewpoint, his view of the future is. You can agree or disagree with that. You'll have your opportunity to speak. But nothing has been decided.
Al, may I just address one thing? I think there are things that the city needs to decide about the use of our facilities and property, and how we best can function as a city, to provide the services that normally are provided by any city to their residents, which is the garbage, the water, and all that stuff. And we encourage your input on the service you're getting or the service you would like to receive. And we certainly hear the complaints and try to address them. The city does. I think they do a pretty good job there. But, and we would encourage, in my thinking, everybody contributing to how we make that the best city center that we can.
Any of the other, you anything like that?
Other than the fact that the rumor mill seemed to want to throw Patty Calderon out in 5 minutes, I hope y'all are all proud of yourselves. You participated in that rumor mill. But you didn't get it from one of us. Nobody even called me, and I don't know about the rest of them. Nobody called me about Patty. So, anyway, I'm sorry for Patty's sake.
Farther from our mind.
That's all.
Nothing, then I'm going to turn this meeting over to our visitors here. If anybody has anything they'd like to say, yes, ma'am. Please, name.
My name's Laura Gurley. I think I know a lot of people in this room. I'm going to say, first off, that I know I come from things with a different perspective. Many of you knew my parents. My parents had a home here from 1976 until 1988 or no, 2008, sorry. I left out a few decades. My dad's career was life insurance. The very nature of a life insurance career is, or life insurance, thank you, is that you are planning for the future. So to go in line with what Neil says, you plan for the future. I spoke to the Property Owners Association probably in 2010, 2012, I don't remember. And at that point, I made the comment, because it was true, that if you drove from here to my home, which is Alpine Drive, so if you were to leave here and go up Ridgepole, turn left onto Alpine, every single solitary home was sitting vacant. 13 homes sitting vacant. These days, only one is still sitting vacant. It has not been touched, in my knowledge, since 2008 or 2009. Or before then. I've never seen it touched. The reason for that, I believe, is because a lot of people don't plan. With my work with the Tourism Development Authority, we do a lot of work with the Georgia Power Economic Development Department for the state of Georgia. And one of the things that we've learned in our studies that Georgia Power has taught us is that when people retire, they retire to a certain area that they've always wanted to live in, whether it's the beach or the mountains or whatever. Their longevity there is maximum about 30 years. And they spend the first 10 to 15 years living there and enjoying their life. But after that, they start to age out. They become old and don't feel like they can be in areas with less health care, or their family members say, you can't make that drive from Florida to Sky Valley anymore, you're too old to do that. They then move closer during the last years of their lives to better health care and to family members. And I think that that's a lot of the reason why we've seen so many of these houses sitting empty, is that people didn't plan for what would happen to their home when they could no longer come here. They, I guess, leave it in their will. They maybe assume that their children want it. Their children may live in Wisconsin and not want it. Their children may not want to take on the responsibility of paying the property taxes, paying for yard care, that kind of thing.
3 minutes.
Are you saying it's been 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Thanks, Laura.
I encourage you to think moving forward.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Shield.
John Sheehan. Let me continue with where she was going, because I think that's the key to everything. And she's got it. Councilor Durpo has talked about trying to attract nursing homes in here. This is a prime place for nursing. Look around the room. I mean, it's great living here, but at X point in time down the line, for exactly what she said, you know, our kids are going to come get us and take us somewhere else. I
Well,
think.
but when I'm 50 years old, do I want to move somewhere that's known as a nursing home community?
I don't think anybody's suggesting.
Yeah, well, that is the trend. That is the trend today. The nursing homes are exploding all over the country, and they're going to communities like this for the very reason that she stated. You know, do you want to stay here the rest of your life, or do you want to be hauled out and taken somewhere else?
Yes.
So that's just one of the opportunities. But the state of Georgia has one of the most effective economic development entities there is. I know because I've competed against them in Florida and lost company after company to Georgia. This area of Georgia, they're not doing anything here that I know of. I don't see anybody from the state trying to develop this. Now that big thing they put down there in Gainesville is phenomenal. That's going to make that area explode, you know. I would suggest going to the economic development people in Atlanta and saying, we got this whole region up here and we're not getting any help from y'all. Can you put a person up here to help us develop this area? Can you put money into this area to help us develop this area? I mean, Sky Valley is just kind of sitting here, nothing happened. And for the sake of our property values, for the sake of the future of this place, something needs to be done to attract something in here that'll make this a viable community again. It's just a dead community economically. I mean, you know, there's nothing happening. And so I would suggest to you go to the state of Georgia, go through your legislators. They convene in January, they're filing bills in Atlanta now, and try to get some money in the budget to do something up here to help out. Every day, these states are looking for places to put this and that entity. Is there an entity they could put up in this, right, you know, at our front door, or within the community that would attract people? And that thing, that trade school down there in Georgia's fantastic on doing these trade schools. That one in Gainesville, I don't know if y'all stopped by, but it's phenomenal. And but we're a little further away to have that help us.
Please try to keep your comments succinct,
You.
please.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
I'm Barbara Kobacker, and I've lived in Sky Valley 18 years, and I think global thinking is wonderful. But I would like to bring this back to what the city owns, which is a building on a highway. I would like to bring it back to the fact you put it for its highest and its best use, regardless of the difficulty. We're smart enough to figure it out. Make it A+ on the highway. Then take the old city hall, make it a police station, do whatever. And I still want a meditation thing up on those lots we can't sell. But let's bring it back to where we are. Let's stay where our feet are. And later on, we can think of nursing homes and concert halls and airplanes. Thank you.
Anyone else has a comment?
Stand up, Steve.
Illustrious.
Hey,
Illustrious
I
ex-mayor.
think I know most of you. I snuck in here for about a month. The name is Steve Brett. And what Laura said is true. I got old.
I wasn't talking to you.
I think you were. I moved back to Augusta for better health care to be close to relatives. But the point is the visitor center. I think Mayor Goodgame's original idea of the moving the city hall to the visitor center was a very viable and an intelligent use of that building. And going along with that, the possibility of moving the police station there, the possibility of continuing to use part of that facility for a visitor center, the possibility of using the current city hall for some other use, for a rental property for some business or something, is the proper thing to do. And for the first time in my life, Neil, you and I agree 100%. So I think
That's nice, that's nice to know, because you're a friend of mine, and sometimes we have to.
We have had a few. I think Neil's idea is right on, that y'all can do the planning as far as, it's obvious that in 2020, when that lease expires, you'd have the opportunity to move into Ed West's office. And Patty's facility, as I understand, doesn't have a lease, so you all would have to decide what you want to do, if you want to continue to have Patty use part of it, or whatever's going to transpire. But I think what everybody's saying, that planning ahead is the key to it. And it's not something that's going to happen this year, next year, or the year after that. It's going to take 3, 4, 5 years for this thing to come to fruition. But I think wise planning and moving ahead, as Neil said, is the only thing to do. And I think, as Ms. Kovac has said, I think we need to concentrate on the subject at hand, not economic development at this point. Thank you.
Ladies first. My name is Lynn Traherne, and I've owned property in Sky Valley since 1999. And I'm in my second home, and because I'm living here, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are living here too. So, I feel I now have a voice. I fell in love with Sky Valley in 1999, and it was my vacation home. So now I've moved up here full time. Concerns me a lot to see Sky Valley declining. The roads, the signs, the structure, everything about it is falling apart. These homes that are not attended or unattended need to be addressed. I mean, the people own them, then they need to have a letter sent to them, and they need to keep their property up, because it only helps all of us. And that's a concern of mine. And I will, give me a list of people to call, I don't care, I'll call anybody. I'm in a marketing business anyway, so it concerns me what's going on with Sky Valley. I mean, when the street signs, I have someone that comes up here 3 times, new, been here before, the street signs are pointing the wrong way, they're falling down, they're so dirty you can't even read them. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I'm not used to this. I mean, I thought I was coming into a nice little city When I saw it from the outside before, and now I'm living in it, I'm starting to see the things that are not looking well for the city and for all the property owners in the area. So, this rental center up there, we have plenty of time to discuss that. We need to address things that need to be done now. And eyesore, I love this old building, but when I turn on Ridgeville to go to my house, I look in the back of this place, and it's ugly. There's a half fence up that is rotted. They just stuck the two trees in the ground, and then they let the other one die. And, you know, okay, take the other fence down and plant some landscaping there. It's ugly. The turn going up to Sky Valley, it's ugly. There's every time I have a chance, I want to go get in my car and go buy some plants and make it pretty. It's just, the entry is beautiful. Why isn't other places in Sky Valley that way? It should be. As much taxes we're paying, it should be. That's my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Ed Morley. I've been a property owner here in Sky Valley for 10 years. I think I've addressed the council with some of my concerns, and those concerns came from the last work session where the only discussion I heard was how you could find money to pay for things you needed to get, which is understandable. But I've not seen anything about our marketing plan. You just said, well, we need to have a marketing plan. You guys have been there for a while. We hear from people that one of the things in the marketing plan that we want to do is assisted living. I'm not interested in assisted living here, and I don't know how many people are, but I'd like to see the council come up with what is the marketing plan going forward instead of taking things down. We took down the Lakemont sign. That was a nice sign. A lot of people saw it. We were going to put up another sign in its place, but nothing's happened. Let's move on. Get our marketing. What is our marketing plan? Thank you.
Betty Shepherd, and I'm kind of a newbie here, but I've only been here 5-6 years. But I think the City Hall is quaint. It kind of reflects what Sky Valley is. But I would like to see the police department right out in front of God and everybody coming up the street. And please, Neil, don't put a billboard on a gorgeous road coming up the highway. That would just, you know, they're so ugly, and that's no way to market that we're a beautiful place to be, to say, you know, here we are, put a sign up. But I don't know, Sky Valley is different, and forget the nursing home concept, because you're talking dollars, doctors, nurses, buses. You have no idea what you're talking about when it's nursing home or right, staffing. But anyway, no sign, please, no billboard in Sky Valley. Keep it down on the highway.
One last thing. Lisa Unger, and I live on Alpine. And it's probably off the beaten path of what you're talking about, but my concern as a property owner and a taxpayer is those one-way signs. We were told when the signs went up, after that street was paved, the signs went up, that was temporary. Here we are, 2 years later, the signs are still there. The last mayor and the city and the council members voted because I went and voiced my concerns that those signs have a negative impact on our property. Number one, we have to back down the street to Alex Drive in order to turn around and go the right direction. And countless times have almost been hit. The maintenance on Alpine Drive, there is no maintenance. And, I mean, there's debris, the streets, the trees, nothing is maintained there. I mean, we pay taxes too. I would like to see our street just as nice as Ridgepole and all the other streets. I mean, it's, as a taxpayer, we're not happy. Now, I was told every few months, I contact City Hall, and, you know, in June, I contacted them again. Where are we on making, you know, I was told that it was passed, that they were gonna take the one-way signs down and make two-way traffic, that there was a bid out for someone to come and put rocks along and build up the shoulders. And they were waiting for that to happen. It's August. Where are we?
I appreciate your questions, and I wish I would have known your concerns before today. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that, and I will look into it.
I mean, you know, it's upsetting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we've run out of time. We got a executive session we have to go into. I want to thank all you people for coming. Sorry I couldn't get to all of you. But we have an item of this block.
We were going to give everybody a update on where we were. Oh, Will, he was one of the first ones to ask you a question. I should sit down and go. Please, if you don't mind.
Mr. Mayor, just a minute. I promise I'll be brief. Will Gurley, 642 Alpine Drive. I'm generally not displeased with the discussion and the things that I'm hearing here today, and I think we're headed on the right track. However, I want to ask for a commitment from the City Council that we absolutely maintain the visitor center in the interim. It's critical, it's key to, you know, our marketing efforts such as they are. You know, making long-term plans and different utilization for the current building that we're talking about is not a bad thing. Doing anything that would change the visitor center in the interim would be terrible, absolutely terrible. And I hope you have the wisdom and forethought to realize that. So can we get a commitment that the visitor center remains intact while the planning's going on?
No,
That's a
we
simple
will
question.
not commit to something because we haven't fully discussed yet.
Okay, well, I'll look forward to your answer.
Thank you.
Let's go.
All right, in regards to SPLOST, I don't know where to start. I'll start with one thing, and that is, I'd love to know if they could explain it, but anyway, that's not true. I will, but I'm going to wait for one thing first.
Okay.
And that is, I want you all to know something. There's been no offer. There's been no deal. Nothing on the table. Everybody's talking about all the money we're getting and all the deals that are going on. They don't have a deal. So I'd like to start off with, actually we'll start off with Ed Morley. Ed, you sent an email out on Sunday telling everybody that we have an opportunity to get $400,000 in funding from the county, including waiving dumping fees and payment of our annual fire department expenses. You stated that you heard some reference there in the last workshop. And since it's a major opportunity for us, you will suggest a status update. Linda, my question to you is, how does Ed Morley know numbers that we don't even know?
You should ask anyone. I don't know.
Ed, tell me, how do you know numbers that we've never been?
Are the numbers wrong or right?
No, numbers are right. I want to know how you know before we did.
Well, my understanding is the city has gotten 350,000 in splash funds in the past. Is that not true?
That is very true. That's not my question. How
Also
did you know,
heard-
how did you
and
know
also
about
heard-
$400,000 on
I'm trying to
Sunday?
answer your question, sir.
Okay.
In the last meeting, there was a reference to the fact that maybe you could get some funding for the police and the dumping fees, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that was actually, it was discussed.
Yeah, we
but
discussed
actually
that
worked on that.
potential
Yeah, that's
revenue.
still not the question.
But Chip, why am I being attacked here? Why don't you explain to us what's going on? That's all I'm asking.
I'm trying to find out how citizens find out information before we do.
Because it's all public knowledge, it's a matter of researching it. It's,
Where's the offer?
Where did you
Where's
find
the
that
research?
public?
I'm cool, hook me up.
Chip, you've lived in Sky Valley long enough to know that everybody knows everything. I mean, that's just a simple fact. They know what time you go to the bathroom, they know what time you come out. I mean, that's Sky Valley, period.
Not much proprietary.
Hold on a second, I've got to weigh in on this. The information that Mr. Gerbo is asking for was put out in an email before any of the council members knew that number. And he's asking a direct question, where did you get it? The fact that Sky Valley is a rumor mill and has all sorts of innuendos and guesses and suppositions going on is irrelevant because you had an exact figure and we didn't.
I didn't know that was an exact figure, but if
You
it
put it
is.
in writing.
You put it in writing.
Anyway,
All right, let's let it go. Let's let it go. There's the point about that there's a lot of talk and nobody has the facts. If Linda had presented it to us and we had presented it at a meeting, then you could use that. There's other facts, other numbers out there that I'm not aware of. And I'm not saying it's from you, Ed, I'm just saying there's other numbers out there that I am not aware of as a council member. I would suspect that I would know about it and that other members of the council would know about it prior to anybody else having it. So it's a concern for us and it creates a divisive community because somebody puts something out there and everybody else is concerned, well, how come we didn't hear about it from the council? And some people are hearing about it, but not everybody. So I think we need to just try and
Al, your point's well taken, but I guess my concern is I haven't heard anything or feedback from the council on any of those negotiations. Are there negotiations going on?
Yeah, we're gonna give you a complete update.
We're gonna update you, we
Yeah.
just wanted an answer to
Yeah.
one simple question.
Yeah.
Where did you get the number?
Well, I heard it through the rumor mill.
could have been in the newspaper.
You're right on, just that accurate, right on the money.
All right.
Good guess.
All right, in regards to that email, our mayor and Paul visited Linda on Monday
In regards to Ed's email, to figure out what was going on.
because obviously everybody on the council was pretty PO'd about the fact that there's information out there we don't know about. And the result of that meeting reads, pursuant to this morning's event in my office, I'm responding only to the council and Paul or the mayor and will respond to Ed. The county has verbally offered $400,000 to the city of Sky Valley for SPLOST if we sign an intergovernmental agreement. Now, that's the first time, to my knowledge, that anyone on this council ever heard $400,000.
Chip, you sat in my office with Al and Bob when we talked about SPLOST and SBA.
We sure did.
Yes,
What
we
was the
did.
number?
That wasn't the number.
The number was the number was 350,000. They were gonna raise everybody 10%. That makes
No, that is
$380,000.
not what we talked about in my office.
Okay. I was there, you were there, Bob. Anyway, the initial verbal offer was $385,000. Based on the meeting in my office with Bob, Chip, and Al, those in attendance did not agree with signing the intergovernmental agreement unless Clayton was agreeable. By population, Clayton would get close to $2 million, and the county is offering $1 million to the city of Clayton. Great, I can see it's big enough. To them in the agreement. According to Darren, County Administrator, the other cities have agreed, and that leaves us. We have your representatives here from Clayton.
Yes.
Good. Oh, we got the mayor, we got some council. You in agreement for the $1 million?
That's the first time we've heard of this. The county has not continued any negotiation with us or advised us of anything with SPLOST to this date. We've been to 2 meetings with the county government. One I believe was in March and one was in July. We presented our figures. We presented to the county what we would like in the form of the budget. However, the county has not reached back to us. They've not made us any offers. They've not told us what they would give us. They've not even said that what we budgeted and what we requested was acceptable. We haven't even been told how much they're projecting to receive in the next SPLOST. So
are we being singled out?
Well, the point is that everything is still up in the air. When you say at this point, there's nothing in writing, is that correct?
There's nothing in writing, and the city of Clayton has not been communicated about
So
anything.
it sounds to me like negotiations haven't really even started. So we don't really know what we're talking about. And so we need to move forward trying to figure out what exactly we're talking about. There has not been, to my knowledge, as we sit here right now, a written proposal from Raymond County to Sky Valley, has there?
No, my last communication with Darren is that they were drawing up 2 proposals, and they would call a open meeting with the cities, including us, Clayton, all the cities, to go over both of those proposals. One would be the one that they told me verbally about. The other would be one where they're proposing from level 1 projects, and the cities would get less than what they told me.
Right, but we have a verbal proposal that's really a second verbal proposal, because the first one, they changed.
The first one came in to us at $385.
Right. So
The
that's
second
the
one
point
came
I'm
in.
trying to make here, is that we don't have enough information, and there's a lot of, the rumor mill is giving you information that we don't have, and we're the ones that should have the exact information, and yet there's a criticism of the council based on the rumor mill. And nobody has exact figures, so I'm not sure.
My name's Jordan Green. I'm the mayor of the city of Clayton. I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself. And one thing that I would like to clarify, and from what I understand y'all saying, from the emails that y'all corresponded back and forth, all the other cities are in agreement supposedly with this, and they're waiting on y'all, but we've never been contacted. One
No,
time.
not Clayton, obviously. I don't think he was saying that you all agreed, but the other cities is what I've been told have agreed. Not me.
I just talked to the mayor last night of one of those other cities. They hadn't heard anything about SPLOST either.
I'm just telling you what Darren has
Well, I just thought that out for information.
to me.
Well, thank you. That was one of my next questions, if either one of y'all have talked to another city, because, I mean,
Yes.
this is what the county is proposing to Sky Valley, that, hey, we're it. We're the only ones that are hanging out. Everybody else is in agreement. I'd like to go on further to read that if we sign this agreement, the county would not need Clayton's signature to get the agreement done, and Clayton would have no say-so, which is completely unethical. Ultimately, it would still be up to the voters, which is true, to approve SPLOST or not. We instructed Linda to get this in writing, and hopefully that they could get an agreement that all cities could agree to. The full intent of SPLOST, folks, is for the cities, there's 6 of them in Rayburn County, and Rayburn County to get together and determine what project SPLOST money should be used for, where that SPLOST money should be used, and how it best benefits the 6 cities in the county. However, the negotiations I've been involved with, Paul and I have pretty much taken that in the lead. And the negotiations we've been involved with SPLOST is that Rayburn County doesn't want to talk to the other cities. They want to drive whatever their own personal agenda is. And we'll talk about those numbers in just a minute.
You agree with that? Council.
Do what?
They're definitely driving their own agenda.
Yeah, they don't care what you have to say.
These 2 ladies back here sit on the city council of Clayton. Would y'all mind introducing yourself real quick?
I'm Debbie Chisholm. I've been on the council 12 years.
Could you come forward, please, Debbie, and come up here.
We can't.
We
Oh,
can't.
I'm sorry. I'm Elizabeth Chapman. I've been on council about 2.5 years.
On the city
City
council of
council.
Clayton.
City Council, Clayton.
All right. Mr. Mayor, may I address?
Yes.
My name is Kristen Watley. I have been a resident who's owned our house since November 28, 2001. I think we have reached a point where I would like to recommend that the city councils of Raven County gather together. And Ed, if you would be the host of this at the club, we could put it on the bill. But you guys need to get together, formulate your information, formulate what you want, and that needs to be taken to the county. If the county will not give you what you want, the citizens of all of our cities need to know that. And we will take it forward. Now, Paul, nobody is more knowledgeable about this kind of stuff than you. Neil is a great facilitator on long-range planning, but all of us are in the same spot. We got a pot of money that's coming to this county, and we all need to know what the citizens of this county want to do with it, and then respectively into our own cities. So that is my proposal, Bob, that you convene.
That's already happened.
Yeah.
That, the SPLOST, for the new SPLOST that's gonna be voted on next year, the process already started in
Oh, yeah, I've been reading all about it.
And, I mean, we've already done all that, and that's the issue here is that we've come to the very point that you're speaking of, that we've identified the projects, we've put in a budget request, and obviously the county is communicating to y'all one thing, they're not communicating anything to
They're
us.
not communicating to the elected officials of the cities. Is that correct?
They haven't communicated anything with us. I can't speak for the other cities as far as what they've had any conversation with, but when we've asked about.
What's best for Sky Valley.
No, but what's best for Sky Valley is dependent upon what's coming from Raven County.
They won't even tell us what they're projecting
All right.
to get in on.
Another issue
I'm
that
sorry.
I just became aware of is that because this isn't jumped on by all of the cities, but primarily Clayton and Sky Valley right now, that I'll call it a threat by Raven County to now initiate a level 1 project, which means that takes precedent over anything else and everybody else gets the crumbs that are left. Okay, I'm speaking in generic terms here. So all of a sudden, that rose to the top, and it was never discussed before. Is that correct, Jordan, the way you understand it? That's correct, okay? So we're trying to let you people know what's going on here and give you the facts about it as we know them.
All right, so who do we have at the county level in each of the cities who's responsible for governmental relationships with the state?
It doesn't matter. The county holds the purse strings right now. They can do whatever they want. And they can bully all of us.
We're not going to the state level, we're going to the federal level.
And the point also is, and this is what is really so damning to the county and upsetting to us is, SDS, you've heard of that. You've heard of SPLOST. One program has absolutely nothing to do with the other. Now let me read on here. They have been told by their attorney to go into mediation. In other words, what they're saying is, what they're proposing to us is they'll give us an SDS agreement at a fixed fee.
Who's they?
The City County of Rayburn.
County,
County of Rayburn has a verbal offer to settle SDS for $75,000 per year to cover all inequities. Now, our inequities are much greater than that, and they will agree to maintain Ball Mountain Road, build a salt storage facility, and supply the salt and chat for the winter. Darren, county administrator, told me, Linda, that by them agreeing to what we want on SDS, the county would want our cooperation in getting SPLOST intergovernmental agreement. Now, what is that saying to you? You know how that works, folks?
Yeah,
What was that?
blackmail, exactly. Yep.
Like what? Do you know how SPLOST is controlled? Because it was controlled last time. We got 300, and City of Sky Valley took a bribe for $350,000.
What do you mean by a bribe?
Well, Sky Valley, on an equitable, fair population splits, do $267,000.
Okay.
These guys are due $2 million. Now, an intergovernmental agreement is a situation where 6 cities get together, and y'all look at it, there's 6 here, George, you might want to be interested, I don't know if you're saying this, where the 6 cities in the county get together, and like I just said, and decide what's best for the county. It might be in Sky Valley. Sky Valley might be in the best interest of Clayton and Rayburn to put a couple $1 million here. They can move it around, but everybody needs to be in agreement to it. That's not the way Rayburn County wants to do it. So what Rayburn County did last time, there was $20 million in SPLOST funds. Of the $20 million, if it was divided by a population share, Rayburn County would have gotten $11,600,000, Clayton $2 million, Mountain City $1 million, Tiger $400,000, Dillard $392,000, Sky Valley $267,000, and Tallulah Falls $165,000. So what did the county do? The county goes out and pulls 5 of the 6 cities together to go along with them to increase the population share above 50% and cut this city out. What really happened was Clayton got $0, screwed completely out of every penny they were owed. Mountain City was shorted $500,000. Tiger took $450 instead of their $400. Dillard took $400. They actually were the only ones that were close that got only $8,000 more. Sky Valley took $350,000 instead of the $267,000. Tallulah Falls took $200 instead of $165,000. Now the result of that, everybody looks and they go, hey, this $400,000 head you recommend, hey, sounds good, I like the idea. In fact, the $350 sounds really good too. But the structure of every single deal has a front end and a back end. So on the front end, it sounds really good, doesn't it? On the back end, Rayburn County stuck an extra $2.4 million in their pockets. Guess what happened then? We got 3 years worth of SDS. We lost. In other words, our intergovernmental status, 3 years now, guys? All right, so what do we all get, $30,000 a year from the state? As just a blanket, not considering any other grant. So in other words, all that's gone. Well, Rayburn County doesn't need any money. They don't have to worry about the loss of grants or state grants. Why? They got $2,400,000 they didn't quite deserve.
And they can raise taxes.
Do what?
And plus they raise taxes. On
Well,
all the
that's good.
taxes.
Yeah.
They're sitting pretty.
So, and then what can they do with that money now? They've taken care of the fact that, all right, all the cities out here, and this is my opinion, but all the cities out here now are without grants. We don't have any extra, well, everybody got a little bit of extra money, but these guys took a huge hit. And that's unethical as hell. Well, what'd they do with that money? Now they got the money to turn around and take the lawyers and fight us for SDS. And who gave them the money? The taxpayers paid. Yeah, you paid to have them fight you and fight us. You think Sky Valley won for taking $350,000? No, you lost $90,000 on your first grant. So when you look at the front end of the deal, guys, don't look at that. Look at the whole deal. The latest proposal right now, if you take, well, of course, this was actually based on the only proposal I heard until Sunday. And that was that we were going to now get, they were going to give everybody a 10% increase. And they're going to now give these guys $1 million if they're $2 million. Now realize now, we're going back to this. Every city has agreed.
I just wanted to say, we had not heard that
They don't know that. That's
until
the other part.
Yeah.
They don't know that.
This is all news.
Linda
to
knew
us.
it before we did. It's pretty
How did you
sad.
find out? Nobody tells us anything.
Darren
Just gave me the figures that everybody.
We had
Darren
no
talks to
idea.
you, but he doesn't talk to anybody else.
Well, what they've done is, if you notice, as it turns out, guys, here's where the big deal is. And this is why it's all about Sky Valley.
So
Sky Valley.
where is the county commissioner coming to us? Coming to y'all?
Oh, you won't see that.
He's not coming to us either.
No, but this is my point that I was trying to make to Paul.
Yeah.
This is intergovernmental relations. This can happen in normal situations. Do we need a back door to help this process? Do we need somebody who has the respect of all people and can help with this process? This has been going on in the paper now, how long?
Quite a while.
Years.
Years.
How many years has Clayton been in mediation?
All right, if I can, let me take the next step. And, and I appreciate Chris. Believe me,
Chris,
Chris,
we're trying to get there. We've been meeting with the county. I've been meeting with them. I've been meeting with them on the side, in non-public settings.
Of course.
But still, here's the result we're getting. So we're fixing to go into executive session and try to come up with solutions of how, it's the county's responsibility, but it's, in our opinion, they're not doing a good job. They're not being responsible. We're willing to take responsibility for our end of what we're supposed to do, so.
And I'm sure Clayton is as well.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me like we need some kind of a Georgia Public Policy Foundation individual who can help with that.
Jordan?
Well,
typically they won't do that. The issue here is that the way the state law is written is that the majority of all the power gets given to the county in the issue of taxation was lost and lost, but we don't get lost because it goes to the school system. It's up to the voting base to hold the county commissioners responsible.
So it's up to us.
Yes. It is up to you to advise your county commissioners that you're tired of either sneaky dealings or, whatever you feel tired of. And if you're tired of the cities
No,
going around, you can express that to them too. I'm not telling you what to do, but it's up to you to show a strong united front, to tell the county commission that it's time to get back to doing things ethically and at least on a pro rata basis. I mean, you're talking about taking the city of Clayton, taking over $1 million away from us, for what?
And the last time it was $3 million.
They took $2 million, but here's the thing, y'all are up here talking about long-range planning and thinking about how you're gonna get people to come to Sky Valley. They come to Raven County and they come to the city of Clayton, they come and explore the natural beauty, but the more and more and more that the city of Clayton gets choked down and the infrastructure that we can provide, the more and more and more it hurts places like Sky Valley.
It hurts everybody.
It hurts everybody. So the answer to your question is the unfortunate thing is the state's gonna say, go back and look up what OCGA says about SPLOST.
County.
And if you look all that up, the county, because there's 160 taxation districts, they're all based on the county. The county's the only one that can call for it,
But we all know,
but they have to
in
be.
the quiet of conversations, things can happen. And I don't know who that is for Mr. Giles, but I bet you all can find out.
Well, you know, let's ask that one question. Who does the bully respect? Who does the bully respect?
Because they're the bullies.
They've got power. They can do what they want. So who do they respect?
Well, I think the thing that I'm hoping that everybody realizes here is Rayburn County's not speaking to anybody but Sky Valley on this thing. Why is that?
I don't
Well,
know.
because if Sky Valley operates morally and ethically, we don't take a payoff, and we work with these guys right here, we control SPLOST. And Rayburn County is, so make it $1 million, make it $500,000. What would you, what you gonna sell integrity and morals for?
The rest of the cities can be bullied, they're afraid.
Well, yeah, but there's no reason for them to be afraid.
I know,
You the whole
I
point is,
know.
quit being bullied around. And I don't care what number they place on SPS, on SPLOST, excuse me, I got to do this yet. They place them on SPLOST. This old boy, I got integrity. I don't, I want to earn every dollar I can earn. I'm sure as hell not going to take it away from you people, and I'm sure it's not going to take it away from them.
Mr. Sheehan, I think there's an easy way to bring this whole thing to a head.
Good.
Have all the city attorneys go see the United States Attorney, ask them to convene a grand jury, present all this, and then ask the grand jury to come out with a presentment. Anybody who violates that presentment goes to jail. And you have some people already, I mean, I've been reading a little bit about this, and somebody sent me a clipping where one of the county commissioners stood up before a service club and said, we have taught the city of Clayton, we have taught them
A lesson.
and this and that. Well, before the grand jury, he's probably going to get indicted. So I think their attorneys will advise them that you need to be straight in this thing. You can't do all these things that you've been doing and get away with it, because eventually you're going to get indicted and hand it over to the U.S. Attorney, and then you'll have an answer.
One of the concerns that I voiced to a couple of the council members was that if the county is teaching Clayton a lesson, at what point will they teach Sky Valley?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so, one of my goals here is to help y'all understand what's going on, but I also want you to understand why this council is not sitting here taking $400,000. Why this council says that the last time taking $350,000 was a bad deal.
And what year was that?
7 years ago.
I wouldn't know.
2013 years ago.
2013, we took money.
That's very interesting.
So,
And this lady was actually warned, she was actually told, give us your water system or we'll take your SPLOST. So they took our SPLOST. And they used you guys to help them do it.
They used us?
Yeah, because you were the last.
Am I wrong?
You were, Sky Valley was the only one that actually even gave it thought. The rest of them had been bullied and they were afraid to say no to the county.
I'm gonna read you a quick article in the newspaper here. I don't know what date, in fact, Tommy, I believe you wrote it. In 2012, the city of Clayton was left out of Rayburn County Special Local Option Sales Tax Agreement, preventing the city from receiving any funds. However, at Clayton's Rotary Club meeting on March 22nd, County Commissioner and Rotarian Bob Fink told attendees that Clayton would not be left out of the agreement again this year. A SPLOST is a optional 1% sales tax used to fund capital outlay projects proposed by the county government and participating qualifying. When negotiating, let's get them.
Can I just say one thing?
The
Chip?
city, huh?
Most of the sales tax in Rayburn County is collected within our city limits. Using our infrastructure, and yet they don't feel they need to share it with us.
So anyway, he goes on to say in this article, this year county commissioner, about 6 years ago, 5 people, your county commission, they figured out a way to punish 5 other people. That's the Clayton City Council. Bob Fink said. Fink described the action as both childish and said it resulted in years of resentment forming. However, planning for the next block cycle early in the year, they're not going to leave Clayton out. Well, I didn't figure they'd leave Clayton out. I kind of figured they'd give them $100,000 instead of $2 million, but they got a little better deal. So anyway, with that said, I hope you guys understand that when you start looking at these big figures, I hope that y'all will look at this council and realize that these big figures that we're being offered is not a good deal for Sky Valley. It carries no morals and has no integrity. We're going to do what's right for Sky Valley. We're not trying to do anything to help these guys. But I tell you what, when you got 6 cities in a county that should agree on a division, you got a county who is playing nobody at this point but Sky Valley. We're going to fix that.
Well, another reason why they're doing it with Sky Valley is because all of you do not like the inequity of your SDS. So the rest of them are just taking what they're giving them. But you at least voice concerns that it's very inequitable what's happening with your service delivery.
Well, there's another little key, and I'm glad you brought that up. When you take a fixed figure,
oh yeah,
like the $350,000, again, you think you'll win. You win on the front side. They guesstimated a $20 million take in special local option sales tax over that term. You take a fixed payoff one time of $350,000 or more, or whatever. Well, what happens when they collect $24 million or $25 million? Who gets that money? Guess what? We don't. We took a payoff.
It's a dirty game, y'all.
And these figures that verbally have been presented were, we were not advised that there was going to be an 11.6% county raise, county tax increase. So they presented fixed figures without telling us that there was going to be an 11.6% increase in our county taxes. Think about that.
We live in one of the greatest areas of Georgia, in my opinion. It's fantastic, it's beautiful, we have a wonderful county. We got drained swamp, folks.
Right here.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's go into executive.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming. I'd just like to have a motion to adjourn this meeting and to win the executive session.
They said.
Thank you for clarifying. Thank you for giving us this information. Thank you.
That's why I have.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back in.
Take me out for lunch.
Yeah. Take us all.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to enter back into regular session.
Second.
Motion made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Now, motion to adjourn.
No,
No.
you need to make your comment.
Yes, right.
What, can Doug comment for us on the executive session?
What do you want me to comment on? Other than no actions being taken?
No action
No action was being taken. That's
being taken on the executive session.
Okay, so we're adjourned.
Okay.
All in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Will be.
Susan Interviews.
Is it okay if I play tomorrow, just talk about some of the stuff that happened there, or?